So I told y'all I was coming back. It has been a trying week for me. And I don't know, it's something mental health is just I think maybe because of the weather, but it seems like everybody is dealing with some type of in their head. I saw Castanet talking about it. Yes, I love Castanet. Even on 58, I love him, his mom. But I heard her say something to him when you have to stay focused. And so the second part of my story is let's talk about the little girl story. So for me, when I was little growing up, my mom and dad were together, but I don't remember it. So by the time I got to a certain age, my mom and dad had separated. So I don't remember my dad being around as a child. But we moved with my grandparents and we lived with my grandparents and I love my grandfather. My grandfather was the sweetest person. I mean, I remember one time I got stung by a bee and it was in my crib. I don't remember the incident. They told me about it, but my grandfather gave me, he used to always give us Hershey bars or Hershey kisses that we never nothing with any nuts in it because of children. But my grandfather took really good care of me. And that probably was the first response that I knew how a man should treat a woman. My grandmother was sickly. She had diabetes. And my grandfather just took care of her. He made her breakfast. And this is the start of I realized why I became the way I was. My grandmother would sit on the couch and she could be literally arm reach of something and she would call you or my grandfather out of another room to get it. So I told myself, when I get a husband, I'm going to make sure I do everything for him. He not going to have to do all that because of my grandma. So this is how I realized how I started thinking the way that I thought. So that was very traumatic. I mean, my grandfather would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's probably why I get up so early, because I would get up with him because that's the only time I could see him without all my 23 cousins over there, if everybody was dead. So my grandfather would get up in the morning and make my grandmother breakfast, fix her insulin needles, and my grandmother would sit on the couch and she babysit all of us. Now all of us stayed there, and my grandfather would pack his own lunch. My grandmother never packed his lunch. My grandfather did all the cooking. My grandmother didn't cook anything. Only thing my grandmother would make was potato salad. So as I look back and start seeing how I am and how I became the woman that I became, I always said I'm gonna take care of my man. Because you're here, you're supposed to take care of your man. So that's how I realized a lot of the stuff with me kind of started molding me of who I am today. Like when I've been married, feeling disappointed, making sure I'm taking care of everybody. So growing up, my father never really came around. And when he did come around, it was short bursts. They would get me ready, saying, your dad coming, get me ready. I would literally have my pigtails, we call them ponytails, my coat, I would be dressed. And my father never would show up. He would never show up. So I think about the fifth or sixth time, my grandmother told my mother, don't get her ready until he comes. I mean, I would literally sit on the porch like late at night until he came, but he never showed up. So when you look back and I think about it, like, dang, my father never showed up. And the one time that he did, he had started dating this lady named Miss Irma. And when he started dating her, she would, I guess, make him come. But then I wouldn't be ready. I'm about to leave her. She ain't ready. Because my grandmother said, don't get her ready no more. Lizzie, stop. Don't get her ready anymore until he gets here. Because it's just disappointment. So I learned disappointment at an early age. I mean, early. I probably was about 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7. Because, you remember incidents as a child, but maybe not remembering the date. And when he would come and get me, we wouldn't even be together a good 2 hours, maybe 3. He would go buy me a coat, take me somewhere shopping, drop off some books or something that somebody gave him, and that would be the end of our day. So I found out that this is the sad part. When my father would pick me up, we would go to this lady's house, to pick up this little girl. Now, at that time, I thought the little girl was my cousin because that's what I was told. She was my cousin. So my father would make me sit in the car. Like I would have to sit in the car. Now, keep in mind, every time Miss Irma didn't come. But I remember, and I did a story, and I'm going to put it at the end of this clip. My father would never I would have to sit in the car, like around the corner, in the heat, because he didn't have air conditioning there. And one time he did drop out, and the lady was like, she ain't coming in here. She ain't coming in my house. So all these years, I thought she was my cousin. So fast forward a little bit. It's some other pieces to the story, and I'll tell you. My father would take us out. We would do stuff. But when my grandmother, which is my dad's mom, got sick before she passed away, she told me that that was my sister. And I was like, that ain't none of my sister, but it was my sister. So all these years, I was told that my cousin was my sister. But the sad part about it, because she lived in DC, she got to see my father's family. I was mostly around my mom's family because my dad wouldn't pick me up. And sometimes my mother would take me. My mother was like, look, it's your responsibility to take Julie to her to see your mother. That's not my responsibility. And I remember sometimes, oh my gosh, y'all, I was spending the night at my grandmother's house sometimes. And when I was spending the night at her house, baby, my grandfather had one of his legs amputated. So when one of his legs was amputated, my grandmother had one of those big duplex houses. So I can remember it. It was a long hallway. Now, it probably wasn't that long now, but as a little girl, it's a long hallway. And my grandfather, you could tell when he got up because you would just hear a boom, a boom, a boom. So that's him walking with his one leg. Hey, Judy. I was like running down the steps. But my grandmother, when I would stay at her house, she wouldn't let us sleep with her. We would have to sleep upstairs in the end of the hallway where my grandfather was. Baby, let me tell y'all something. I spent the night over there maybe 2 times. I said never again. So when I go back, and look at some of the good memories with my grandparents and stuff, but that was the most heartfelt thing to find out that your cousin is your sister. And my father never told me. My grandmother told me. Not to mention when my grandmother passed away, my father didn't even go to the funeral. I had to go. So my father was not really around. And to still give you more tidbits to the story, when my dad passed away, I had to identify his body. My dad had been in an apartment. He lived literally 10 minutes from me and I didn't know. And I got a call. My sister called and they said Daddy's sick. So I got there faster than her, and my father was on the floor. My father had laid on the floor for 72 hours because most states, if you do a missing person report, they make you wait a certain amount of time. We got there. I will never get that picture out of my head. My dad was boiling water. He must have fell down. He wasn't taking his insulin. He was a diabetic. But my father also was a pharmacy tech, and he said, shoot, the insulin will take you out of here faster than having the illness. So my father never took his medicine. And when the coroner came, all his insulin was in the drawer. He was getting it, but he wasn't taking it. And my dad was cooking, and he fell down He fell in front of the stove, and rigor mortis had set in. So his body was stiff hard, and he was stuck to the floor. But let me tell you something. That's an image that I will never get out of my head. And the sad part about it that hurts is that this is the man who barely took care of me, barely was around, but I had to go take care of him. And when he passed, my sister came in, got what she wanted, and me still being Julia, I made sure that I cleaned the apartment up because I don't know. It was like, so when I think about it, that over and above, I didn't even have to do that. But I went and cleaned the apartment, took all the stuff out the house, everything he had, made sure the apartment was straight. And the lady came and she said, this apartment wasn't this clean when we got it. But that was my thing. Maybe it was a type of closure for me, but I wanted to make sure that I did right by my dad after he went away, even though he didn't do right by me. So I'm going to show you a story at the end of this video. If you watch it, you'll see it. I created, and it's a perfect depiction of what I dealt with as a child. So you'll see me in the car as an adult, but you'll see my father. It's a little fun. It's a kind of funny video when he closes his arm in the door, but you'll get to see it. When I saw that video that Sora created for me, it kind of hit home for me. So the first day I did my first story, it was kind of hard for me, but now I'm getting more comfortable with the storytelling, and I'll have my background soon. So I'm just learning, so just bear with me as we go. Continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate it. There's more to come. It's more to Julia and Why Fitness. Bye.